Good morning and welcome back to Old Tavern Farm. This is the 2022 seasonal vegetable garden, one part of it. This is the smaller garden, and it's doing really well this year. I wanted to take you guys on a quick tour to show you what I've got, what we've got, my husband and I. And I'm going to start over here on the left with potatoes. The potatoes this year are just loving the conditions. We've had beautiful weather this year, not too hot, not too cold, not too wet, not too dry, and everything is just loving this weather. So the potatoes, this is about a 30-foot row of potatoes. They're coming in beautifully. Next to the potatoes, we have zucchini. Next to the zucchini, we have a couple rows of cucumbers. And I grow pickling cucumbers. Our family loves pickles, so I usually have a big store of them. Next to the cucumbers, we have the peppers. And as you know, I grow meal peppers, so I'm growing sweet bell peppers and poblano peppers for eating in season and for freezing. Then next to the peppers, I have the tomatoes. And these are all mixed in because when we planted, we forgot to mark things. So it's going to be a surprise when we go to harvest to see what is where. But that's okay. That's all right. As long as it's in the ground and they're blooming and it's going well. I got a handful of extra cabbages right here. And these are storage cabbages. I make lots of sauerkraut and other types of fermented storage vegetables, so I love to use cabbage in that. Next to the cabbage is kale and beets. And here are the tomatoes on the left-hand side. Coming up to the end of the garden, we have another row of potatoes. Again, just loving these conditions, which is great because we eat a ton of potatoes. We love potatoes. Next to the potatoes, there's a little bed of lima beans. And I got 5 or 6 lima beans in here. They're a spreading vine variety, so they'll take up a lot of room. There's another one. And then into the main garden, I'm starting here on the left with kale, bed of kale. And then next to the kale is a bed of cauliflower. And next to that, I have the first row of our storage onions. These are Patterson Yellows. And our storage onions come from a company in Texas called Dixondale Farms. And this is the second year I've used them, and they're awesome. Next to the onions, I've got what looks like a patch of weeds, but it's actually a couple beds of calendula that need weeding. And next to that, I've got my lettuces. On the left here is romaine. And on the right is some green leaf lettuce that's starting to bolt, but that's okay, I've got plenty. And this is a variety of red leaf called Merlot, which I'm super, super pleased with. It's just gorgeous. Then next to the lettuces, over here on the left, I have a couple patches right here and over next to it of dill. I use tons of dill. I love dill. I use a lot of dill in my pickles, but I also like to make marinades out of it and just use it with fish and all kinds of things. And then I've got a patch of carrots here. I can't remember the variety, but I haven't grown carrots in a couple of years, so this was a fun experiment. And then over here, I've got couple rows of more storage onions. On the left is Red Wing storage, red onions. And on the right is a variety called Red Zeppelin, another red storage onion. Okay, coming to the end of this row of onions is another row of onions. These are more red storage onions. These are the Red Wing. They go all the way to the end. We have about 1,200 storage onions planted, and they store really well. They've actually, I still have some in the root cellar from last year, and they've just held out beautifully. Okay, so next to the onions is some shell beans. This variety is called Mother Earth, that I got from my friend Gary over at Bearded Fisherman. He's got a YouTube channel and he's on Instagram, and they're just doing beautifully. So next to that is some more peppers. A couple rows of peppers that need weeding. I'm gonna get to that soon. Next to the peppers is a bed of strawberries. And in between here is another big row of tomatoes. And next to that is another row of beans. These are green beans. This variety is called Top Crop. And these are like a bush style green bean. Another big row of tomatoes. I make a lot of tomato sauce and salsas and other types of products like that to put in my root cellar for us to eat through the year. But I hope to actually sell some of these as well on a little roadside cart that I have started selling from this year. Next to the tomatoes is some more beans. These are, I can't remember what kind of beans these are. I think these might be lima beans. I think these are lima beans. My husband and I love lima beans. Okay, next to the beans is some more peppers that obviously need weeding, but I'll get there. And then we've got more of these beautiful Mother Earth beans. Just gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. That's so beautiful. Okay, next to the Mother Earth beans, continuing down the lines, is another bed of cucumbers. These cucumbers, honestly, we lost all our cucumbers last year. And these cucumbers this year are growing by the second. So they're doing really great. We lost a lot of stuff last year because of the conditions. And this year we changed by investing in some landscape or weed barrier, which is helping a lot. I still get a lot of weeds, but it's not, I try not to focus so much on the weeds, just on what I'm getting out of the garden. And then next to the cucumbers, I have some more cabbage. And I'm gonna walk around. Next to the cabbage, I have our broccoli plants. And as you can see, the marigolds are heavily planted, and I do this to keep the insect pressure down from these brassicas. As most of you gardeners know, the insects on the brassicas are hard to control, and I don't have a source for a good net around here. I'm always looking for it, but I can't seem to find it. But the marigolds, not only are they beautiful, they really control the insects. The insects do not like the smell of marigolds. It confuses their sense of smell somehow. I'm not a scientist, but that's how I understand it. But the evidence is clear because we've got a beautiful crop of brassicas. Okay, at the end of the broccoli patch is my basil. I make tons of basil pesto. So that's doing really well. And then, say hi to the horses. And then over here, there's a few zucchini planted over here. And then under this other arch is some more lettuce. Okay, next to the lettuce arch here, I've got my pumpkin patch. And so far that's doing well. I haven't had any fruit showing up, but I'm sure that will come along in due time. Next to the pumpkins is our patch of corn. And we just eat this in season. I do put some of it in salsas and things like that, but mostly we just eat it in season. Okay, and right here is my garlic bed. This is an old silo foundation, so because I plant my garlic in the fall, I top dress it with chicken poo. This year's garlic has been very robust. But what happens, I grow hardneck garlic, and what happens is this little thing right here is actually a flower of the hardneck garlic. Well, the hardneck and softneck both make scapes. This is called a scape. S-C-A-P-E, scape. And you can actually use this as a food product. I make pesto out of it. And you do need to go ahead and cut this off. When these form and they start to curlicue like this, they make sort of a little pigtail. You need to cut them off right here. And again, you can use those as a food product. But that prevents the garlic from flowering and allows the energy in the plant to go into the development of the bulb at the bottom, which is what you're growing for. The other sign to know, I do actually leave one. I think this is going to be my signal plant here. I do leave one out of the entire crop. When it goes straight by itself and stands up straight like this, then the garlic is ready to harvest. The other way to tell is when these bottom leaves down here turn brown, the garlic is ready to harvest. So I've got 155 plants in here this year, and hopefully I will have like maybe even more to plant next year. And then pretty soon I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put my garlic, because I'd really like to sell it. But you got to start somewhere. So anyway, it's time for me to go weed. Thank you so much for visiting. Big hugs. Bye-bye.